Welcome to our channel, English Forest. There is a document on your computer. You made it 11 months ago. The file name is something like new.doc or untitled. Or maybe you gave it a real name back then, back when you still believed you would finish it. Last night, you opened it. The cursor blinked in the same place it has blinked for 11 months. You watched it for a while. Then you closed the laptop. The room went quiet, and you told yourself the same thing you say every night. Not tonight, I am not ready yet. You have said this so many times that it no longer feels like a decision. It feels like a description of the weather. It arrives on its own, fully formed, and you accept it the way you accept rain. I want to talk about that sentence. Stay with me, and as you listen, your English grows quietly too. Here is the idea. I will not hide it from you. I will not save it for the end. Readiness is not something that arrives. It is not a feeling that appears in your chest one morning and gives you permission. Readiness is not the ticket you buy at the gate. It is the souvenir you carry home. It is built after you begin, from the small, ordinary evidence of having begun. And there is no other way to build it, not for you, not for anyone, not once in the whole history of people starting things. Let me show you how I know. Think about the sentence itself. I will start when I feel ready. Say it slowly. Listen to how gentle it sounds. It does not sound like fear. It sounds like wisdom. It sounds like patience. It sounds like a careful person making a careful choice, waiting for the right moment, refusing to rush into something important. That is why the sentence works so well. That is exactly why it has held you for 11 months. Suppose your mind came to you and said, I am afraid. You would recognize it. You would take a breath and push through, because you have pushed through fear before. You know how to argue with fear. You have done it at the dentist and at the airport, in the hospital hallway. On the first day of a job, you were certain you would fail. You are not a coward. You have never been a coward, but your mind is not stupid. It knows you would beat fear in an open fight, so it does not send fear, it sends reasonableness. And you cannot argue with reasonableness, because reasonableness sounds like you. Notice what has happened. You have been saying this reasonable sentence for a long time. Weeks, months, perhaps years. And in all that time, the feeling never came. There was never a morning when you woke and thought, today I am finally ready. It did not come last spring. It did not come in the summer when you had time. It did not come in January when you wrote the list. It did not come this morning. Here is the part I want you to sit with. It is not comfortable. I am not going to soften it. It is not coming tomorrow either. I am not saying this to hurt you. I am saying it because someone should have said it long ago and nobody did. And so you have stood in a hallway, waiting for a door that never opens on its own. Let me show you how the trap is built. It is a beautiful trap. It was designed so that you would never see the bars. When you imagine doing the thing, your mind runs a small film. It is very fast. It happens before you notice it is happening. And in that film, you are not good. You are clumsy. Your voice comes out thinner than you expected. You say the wrong word, and you hear yourself say it. Someone is watching, and their face changes slightly. You see the change. You understand what it means. The thing you made looks small and thin beside the thing you imagined making. Your body does not know this film is imaginary. Your chest tightens. Your stomach turns over. Your shoulders rise toward your ears. These are real physical events, produced by a film that does not exist. About a day that has not happened, and your mind loves you and wants to protect you. So it offers a solution. It is a generous solution. It costs nothing today. Not yet. Prepare more. Read one more book. Watch one more video. Take one more course. Wait until you know so much that this cannot happen to you. So you prepare. And preparing feels wonderful. This is the cruelty of it. Preparing feels exactly like progress. You are learning. You are absorbing. You underline sentences and write notes in the margin. You finish a chapter and feel a warm, small satisfaction. It is the feeling that follows real work. Because it is real work. Your brain releases the same chemicals it would release if you had actually started. But you are not moving. You are running on a machine in a room, and the room stays where it was. You get off after an hour with a wet shirt and the same view, and preparing has a special quality. It never ends on its own. Think about it. When have you finished preparing? What is the signal? There is no examination. Nobody arrives at your door with a certificate. The field you want to enter is bottomless. There will always be one more book. And the existence of that book is not a failure of your preparation. It is simply what a field is. A field is an infinite quantity of books. So the condition you have set is not a difficult condition. I will start when I know enough. It is an impossible one. It is not a high bar. It is not a bar at all. It is a horizon. Horizons recede at exactly the speed you walk toward them. You can walk all your life. The horizon will not be one step closer. And you will not notice this, because walking feels like walking. Whether or not you are arriving, I want to name the 3 faces that preparation wears. Each one has a different voice. You have heard all 3. The first face is called research. Its voice is curious and light. It says, before I begin, let me understand the landscape. Let me see what has been done. It sounds like diligence. It is the most respectable of the 3. And there is no natural end to it because the landscape is not a room with walls. Research is the only form of hiding that people will praise you for. Your family approves. Your friends nod. Nobody's ever been criticized for reading one more book on the subject they love. And so the hiding is comfortable. It has social permission. It will last as long as you allow it. The second face is called planning. Its voice is organized and slightly proud. It builds documents. It makes lists with headings and subheadings. It designs a system for the work. The system is elegant. Building it takes 3 weeks. At the end of the 3 weeks, the system is finished and the work has not started. And the system has already begun to feel slightly wrong. It needs revision. Planning has a particular cruelty. A plan is a picture of the finished thing, and the picture is always beautiful. The real thing on day 1 is always ugly, so the better your plan, the more painful your first attempt. You have spent 3 weeks building a standard you cannot meet on the day you begin. You have handcrafted the exact instrument of your own discouragement. And you did it while feeling productive. The third face is the quietest. It does not look like preparation at all. It is called waiting for the right conditions. Its voice is patient. It says, "This is not the right season. Work is busy now. I will begin after the move, after the exam, after the wedding, when things settle down." Notice the phrase, "when things settle down." Things have never settled down. Not once, not for anyone in the history of a human life. There has never been a year without a crisis. Never a person without an obligation. Never a season without noise. The settled period you imagine does not exist in the future because it never existed in the past. Look backward and find it. Find the 6 clear months. You cannot because there were none, and yet you keep budgeting for them. The right conditions are not a thing that happens to you. They are carved out of wrong conditions. On a Tuesday for 40 minutes. Badly while tired. So the discomfort you are trying to prepare away is not a signal that you are unprepared. That discomfort is the price of the first step. It does not get paid in advance. It cannot be paid in advance. No amount of reading will let you skip it. No amount of planning. No amount of thinking. No course, no book, no video, no mentor, no perfect morning. You will feel it on the first day. You would have felt it 5 years ago when you first had the idea and told nobody. And you will feel it 5 years from now if you are still standing here. The only thing that changes is how much of your life you spent in the hallway. Let me put a picture on it. Think of a swimmer at the edge of a pool in the early morning. The building is cold. The water is colder. She knows the water is cold. She has read about it. She has watched other people enter it. She has studied how they entered, whether they went in slowly from the steps or dropped in all at once. She has spoken to her coach about the water at some length, and she is still standing at the edge, still dry. The water is exactly as cold as it was an hour ago. Nothing she does on the edge will make the water warm. The water becomes warm after you are in it, not before. Never before. The warmth is not a property of the water. It is a property of your skin after your skin has adjusted, and your skin cannot adjust from the edge. It adjusts by being wet, and notice one more thing about the swimmer. The longer she stands there, the colder she becomes. Her body has stopped moving. Her muscles have cooled. The pool has not changed at all, but she has. After an hour on the edge, entering the water is harder than it was at the start, not easier. Harder. This is the shape of your 11 months. I do not think I need to tell you that this is not really about swimming. Now I want to talk about what the waiting costs. I do not believe anyone has ever put a number on it for you. The first cost is time. That one is obvious. You already know it. You feel it in December when you look back at January. Every month you wait is a month that will not come back. There is a fixed and unknown number of months, and nobody will tell you the number. But there is a second cost. Almost nobody talks about it, and it is far worse. Waiting makes you smaller. Every day that you do not begin, your mind gathers evidence. It is watching you. It sees that today, again, you did not start. And it draws a conclusion. It writes that conclusion in a place you cannot see, in a handwriting you cannot read. You are the kind of person who does not begin. The next day, that sentence is a little heavier. The day after, heavier still. After a year of this, the thing you wanted is no longer merely difficult. It has become nearly impossible. Starting would mean contradicting a story you have told yourself 10,000 times. And human beings will do almost anything rather than contradict their own story. Understand what happened. You did not lose your courage all at once. Nobody took it from you. There was no disaster, no betrayal. No moment you can point to. You spent it one quiet evening at a time. Buying a comfort you did not even enjoy, that is the honest accounting. Those evenings were not restful. You were not at peace on your sofa. You were carrying the thing you had not done. You carried it into the shower, into the bed, into the dream. You paid for the comfort, and you never received the comfort. And there is a third cost. This one finds you at 2 in the morning. The house is quiet. You have no defenses. Before I name it, let me tell you about a woman. I will call her Marta. I have met her many times in many countries. She is always the same woman. Marta wanted to paint. She had wanted to paint since she was 19. At 26, she bought the materials. Good materials, expensive, chosen after a great deal of reading. She did not want to learn on bad brushes and develop bad habits. She arranged them on a shelf in the spare room. At 30, she took a course. She learned about color theory and the history of light. She was excellent at the course. She asked the best questions in the room. At 34, she rearranged the spare room so the light would be correct in the afternoon. At 41, she gave the materials away. She made a small joke to the friend who took them, something about never having the time. They both laughed. Then she went into the kitchen and stood there for a while, her hand on the counter. She had never once put paint on paper. Not one stroke, in 22 years. Here is what you must understand about Marta. This is what makes it a tragedy, not a story about laziness. She was not lazy, she worked hard. She was kind. She read more about painting than most painters do. She would have been, I think, quite good. She simply could not survive being bad at the thing she loved most. That is the sentence. Read it again. It is not laziness that keeps people from beginning. It is love. She could not bear to make an ugly painting because the painting mattered, because it was the truest thing about her. A bad painting would have been evidence against the only story she ever told herself in private, so she protected the dream by never testing it. The dream stayed perfect and unpainted on a shelf for 22 years, and then it went into a friend's car. If the thing you have not started were trivial, you would have started it. The reason you have not started is that it is not trivial. The size of the delay measures how much it matters. This should comfort you. It should also frighten you. It means you are not weak. It also means the delay will not end by itself. The love that causes it does not diminish. It grows. Every year, the unpainted painting becomes more perfect. Therefore harder to ruin. Therefore harder to begin. Now the third cost. There is a version of you on the other side of the beginning. That person is real, not a fantasy. not a better, luckier, more talented person. It is you with the skill you would have built by now. With the work behind you. With the small, unremarkable confidence of somebody who has done a thing 300 times. Somebody no longer impressed by it. That person speaks without preparing. That person opens the laptop and simply works the way you open the refrigerator, without ceremony. And that person cannot come into being until you go first. Every year you wait, you keep them locked outside your life. Standing in the cold, looking in through the window at you sitting on the sofa holding your phone. Feeling tired, understand what they are asking for. It is not much. They are not asking you to be brave. Bravery is a feeling, and you cannot summon a feeling on command. They are not asking you to be certain. Certainty is a lie that people perform for each other in public. They are not asking you to be good. Nobody is good at the beginning. Everyone knows this and pretends not to. They are asking you to be bad at something for a while. That is all. That is the entire price. Read it again. That is the whole invoice. It is smaller than you thought, and you have refused to pay it for 11 months. Now let me tell you what happens on the other side of the door. I think you have the sequence backwards. This is the most important thing I will say to you today. You believe the order is this. First the confidence, then the action. You believe that one morning the feeling will arrive, unannounced, like weather, and then, carried by that feeling, you will begin. You will sit down at the desk and the words will come, because you finally feel ready. You will walk into the room and speak, because you finally feel ready. The real order is the exact opposite. First the action, then the evidence, then the confidence. You do the thing badly. That is the first step, and it cannot be skipped. You do it badly, and you survive it, and your mind records this. It writes down a small, unremarkable fact. We did that. It was uncomfortable. We are still here. That recording is the first brick. It is not impressive. It does not feel like a victory. You will not tell anyone about it. But it is the only material confidence has ever been made from, and there is no other supplier. Then you do it badly again, and you are very slightly less bad. You notice the difference. It is almost nothing, another brick. Then again and again. Through a period that feels far too long while you are inside it, and absurdly short when you look back. And one day, months later, you notice something strange. You are not afraid anymore. And you cannot remember when the fear left. There was no day, no morning when you woke up brave. It simply wore away the way water wears away stone, not by force, but by returning. I want to be precise about that process. If you understand the mechanism, you will trust it. And if you trust it, you will endure the part which it seems not to be working. Fear is a prediction. That is all it is. Your mind is predicting an outcome. The prediction is unpleasant, and your body prepares for it in advance. A prediction can only be corrected by data, not by argument. You cannot talk your mind out of a prediction. Everyone who has tried this at 3 in the morning knows it. Reassurance does nothing. Your mind has heard it before and considers it noise, but your mind cannot ignore data. It is built to update on data. That is its one loyalty. So when you do the thing badly and survive, you have not persuaded yourself of anything. You have supplied a single observation that contradicts the prediction. One observation is weak. The prediction was built from the years of imagining and will not fall to a single fact. So you supply another and another. And somewhere around the 40th observation, without any announcement, the prediction quietly changes. Your mind stops forecasting disaster. It has become expensive and inaccurate, and your mind does not enjoy being wrong 40 times. This is why encouragement does not work and repetition does. The friend who tells you that you are talented changes nothing. The 11th mediocre attempt changes everything, and this explains something that has confused you for years. Why are some people who are objectively worse than you also visibly less afraid? They are not braver. They have simply collected more observations. They have been bad in public 40 times. You have been bad in private 0 times. Their mind has updated. Yours has not. So they walk into the room loosely, and you stand outside it holding the door handle. The confidence you see on them is not a personality, it is a residue. It is dried salt on the skin of somebody who has been in the sea. You cannot buy the salt. You cannot borrow it. You cannot read a book about salt and wake up covered in it. You walk into the water, you stay a while. And then you come out, and the salt is on you. That is the entire mechanism. There is nothing else underneath it. Confidence is not the fuel. Confidence is the exhaust. It comes out of the back of the engine after the engine has run. You cannot pour it into the tank. You never could. Nobody could. Nobody in history has filled up on confidence. Then driven off to do the thing. And here is the part that should free you or make you angry. I hope it makes you angry. Anger moves. Comfort does not. Every single person you admire began without it. One writer changed how you see your own life. Her first chapter was so bad that she read it back and felt physically ill. She did not delete it. She wrote a second chapter that was slightly less bad. That is the whole story. There is no other story. There is a speaker who can hold a room in silence. She seems born with the room in her hand. She once stood before 11 people in a cold hall. She forgot her own name in the middle of a sentence. She stood there, and the 11 people watched her stand there. She finished the talk anyway, badly. She drove home. She did it again the next month. A teacher once made you love a subject you had hated. She also taught a class very poorly. She sat in her car afterward with the engine off and cried. Then she drove home and prepared the next lesson. They did not have something you lack. They agreed to be bad in public before they were ready. You have not agreed to that yet. That is the difference. It is the only difference, and it always has been, in every field. In every century. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The excuse you have used for 11 months stops working. I am sorry. And I am not sorry. Let me stay with this a moment longer. I know what your mind is doing right now. It is looking for the exception. It says, yes, but she had talent. Yes, but he had money. Yes, but they started young. Yes, but the world was different then. Talent is the speed at which you get less bad. It is not permission to skip the bad part. The talented person is bad first, exactly like you. Then they improve faster. And you never see the bad part. They did it alone in a room and did not film it. You are comparing your first day to their 1,000th day. You have done this your entire adult life. It is not humility. It is a very sophisticated form of hiding. And notice something else. You have never once compared your first day to their first day. Because you do not know what their first day looked like. It was not recorded. Nobody watches a first day. That is the mercy nobody tells you about. Nobody is watching your first day either. You believe there is an audience. There is not. The audience you imagine has faces that change expression when you fail. Those faces belong to real people. And those people are at this moment thinking about their own unopened document. Everyone in the room is looking at their own hands. This is the strangest and most useful fact about being a person. The attention you fear does not exist. It was never allocated. Everybody is inside their own 11 months. Think of the last time you watched someone fail in public. Someone stumbled over a word. Someone forgot a name. How long did you think about it? An hour? A minute? And then you went home and thought about your own thing. The one you have not started. That is what they will do with your failure. Nothing. They will do nothing with it because they are busy. Now, let me give you the instruction. An idea without an instruction is just a pleasant afternoon. Not tomorrow. Not on Monday, not at the start of next month. Not when the project at work finishes. Not when the weather changes. Not when you feel better. Today. And here is how. Do not walk out of this and try to move a mountain. You will fail by evening. Make the step so small that your fear cannot find it. Do not begin the business. Write one line about the business on paper and leave it on the table. Do not learn the language. Say one sentence out loud in an empty room to nobody. Do not write the book. Open the document with the blinking cursor and type the worst first sentence you can imagine. Deliberately the worst. Make it embarrassing. Then close the laptop and walk away. Leave it there overnight. Your fear is a large animal. It is strong and it is fast. You will not outrun it, but it has poor eyesight. It cannot see anything smaller than a mountain, so do not build a mountain today. Place one stone. The animal will not even lift its head. Let me be exact about the size of the stone. People hear this and still choose one that is too heavy. Then they fail and conclude that the method does not work, when in fact they never used it. The stone is correctly sized when it feels almost insulting, when some part of you says, that is not enough to matter. That is pathetic. A serious person would do more. That voice is the animal. It has just woken up slightly. Ignore it. Place the small stone anyway, precisely because it is not enough to matter. Something that does not matter cannot be failed. Something that cannot be failed will actually get done. And a thing that gets done is infinitely larger than a thing that was going to be magnificent. 5 minutes is a stone. 2 sentences is a stone. Opening the file, looking at it for 90 seconds, and closing it again is a stone. On a very bad day, and on a very bad day, that is the correct stone. You should feel no shame about it. Here is the strange thing about the stone. It is not the stone that matters. nobody will ever see the stone. The bad sentence will be deleted. The spoken line will vanish in the air of an empty room. None of it survives. What survives is this. Tonight, when you lie down, your mind will write a sentence in that place you cannot see. It will be a different sentence. Today I began. It will be a small sentence. It will not feel like anything, but it will be the first true sentence in 11 months. And tomorrow, it will be slightly easier to write again. By the end of the month, it will not be a sentence anymore. It will be a fact about who you are. And when you have placed the stone, do not celebrate. Do not tell anyone. Do not announce it. Do not post it. Do not describe it to a friend. The announcement steals the feeling that the work was supposed to earn. Your mind cannot separate being admired for starting from actually starting. It will happily take the first and skip the second. And then you are back on the sofa. Simply notice, quietly, without any ceremony, that something has changed. You are no longer a person who is waiting. You are a person who has begun. That is not a small thing. That is the only thing. Everything else follows from it. The skill follows. The confidence follows. The work follows. But none of it can begin until that one line in your head is rewritten. And it is rewritten tonight, or it is not rewritten at all. Now I want to prepare you for tomorrow. Tomorrow is where this usually dies. Tomorrow morning, the feeling will be gone. The thing you did last night will seem trivial, almost silly. One bad sentence in an empty document. The mountain will look exactly as tall as before. And your mind will offer you a fresh and very reasonable sentence. That did not count. This is the moment, not last night. This morning. This is where almost everyone loses it, and they lose it without noticing. They do not think of it as a defeat. Nothing dramatic happens. They simply do not sit down. So I am telling you now, in advance, while you are calm and can hear me. It counted. The rule is not that you must feel good about it. The rule is that you must do it again. Do it again badly. Do it again while doubting. Do it again on a day when you are tired. When the sentence is worse than yesterday's, when you can see clearly that you are getting nowhere. Do it especially on that day. That day is not an obstacle on the road. That day is the road. Everyone who finished anything walked a long stretch of exactly that day. They told nobody afterward, which is why you think it does not exist. And do not, under any circumstance, wait until you want to. Wanting to is another feeling, and feelings are weather. You would not build a house that only stands on sunny days. You will build the thing on the days you do not want to. That is what building means. That is the entire skill. It is available today and requires nothing you do not have. Let me say something about the 11 months. I have used that number as a small stone in your shoe. I want to take it out before you go. Tonight you will be tempted to spend some time on grief, to calculate what those months could have held. To imagine the version of you who started last spring. That person is now 11 months in. She has a rough draft and muscle memory. She is bored by the thing that terrifies you. Do not do this. It is another form of the same disease. Grief about the lost months is not action either. It feels like accountability. It has the texture of seriousness. You can spend a whole evening in it and feel you have done something important. And you will end the evening exactly where you started, with a worse mood and the same closed laptop. Now the story has a new chapter. In it, you also wasted 11 months. That is a heavier story to carry than the one you had this morning. The 11 months are gone. They were the price of not knowing what you now know. You could not have bought this knowledge more cheaply because you would not have believed it earlier. Nobody believes it earlier. It has to be paid for in months. So they are not wasted, they are spent. The difference between wasted and spent is whether you get something back, and you are getting something back right now. Tonight, in this room, if you do the small thing before you sleep, there is one more thing. I have talked as though there is a single door and a single beginning. That is not quite honest. The truth is that you will need to begin again many times. You will begin. You will build for 6 weeks. Then you will stop. You will get ill, or the work will get hard. Or life will simply arrive the way it does. And then you face a second beginning. It is harder than the first, because now you have the evidence of having stopped. I tell you this so that when it happens, you do not misread it. It is not proof that you are the person you feared. Everyone stops. The people who finish are not the people who never stopped. They are the people who started again on a Tuesday. For no particular reason, without a fresh burst of motivation. Without a new year, without a clean slate. Simply by opening a document closed for 3 weeks and typing one bad sentence into it. Beginning again is the actual skill. Beginning once is nothing. Any excited person can begin once. The whole art is in the return, and the return does not require readiness either. It never did. It requires only that you stop treating your own inconsistency as a verdict. So here is the sentence I want to leave with you. You have been waiting to feel ready. But feeling ready happens to a person who has done the thing for 6 months. It is not permission received at the start. It is the residue that collects on you as you work. You cannot have it now, in this room, before you have done anything. No amount of sincerity will change that. No amount of hunger, no amount of reading. Because it is not a moral rule. It is closer to a law of physics. Nobody has ever felt ready. Not the first time. Not once in the whole long history of people beginning things. They were all afraid. They were all badly prepared. They all had a good reason to wait one more week. A genuinely good reason. One a wise friend would have agreed with. And they went anyway. That is the secret. It is not a good secret. It is not clever or new or comforting. There is no technique in it, no shortcut. Nothing you can buy, but it is the only one there is. It has been true for everyone who has ever done anything, in every country. In every century, in every kind of work. You will not feel ready, not tonight. Not ever in the way you imagine. Go anyway. Go while afraid. Go while unprepared. Go while every reasonable voice in your head is asking for one more week. The water is cold for about 4 seconds. And then you are swimming. 4 seconds. That is what you have feared for 11 months. Not the work. Not the failure. Not the audience that does not exist. 4 seconds of cold water on your skin. Then your body adjusts, the way bodies always have. You look up, and the ceiling of the pool is above you. You are moving. And it is ordinary. Now close this. Open the document. Type the worst sentence you can think of. Leave it there. Go to sleep. Tomorrow you are a different person. The change happened tonight, and it was almost nothing. And that is how every change has ever happened. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and keep growing every day.